Hey guys, I am the Comics Kid 2099, and as with every Saturday, it is time for me to talk about an episode of a superhero animated television show. And today I will be talking about the episode of the Legion of Superheroes cartoon titled Karate Kid. For those of you who have not seen this episode, or if it's been a long time since you saw it, I will be covering the plot really quickly to sum up anything that you might have forgotten or didn't know. So if you hate the spoiler kind of thing, then flee from this video right now. This episode features a guy who is going around stealing stuff and eluding capture at every turn. The Legion of Superheroes tries to catch this guy, but they are understaffed because of a war with Imperiex, and they fail to catch him. Cosmic Boy, ever the giant jerkwad, blames this on Chameleon Boy being not ready, despite the fact that the thief eluded Cosmic Boy as well. Thanks to not having the firepower they need, they hold a tryout for new Legion members, and they recruit Nemesis Kid, who can block other people's powers. Superman and Chameleon Boy go to a fighting arena on some asteroid, where Superman fights in the game to gauge the strength of everyone there, hoping to recruit someone else to the Legion as well. He eventually fights Karate Kid, who has no powers and yet beats Superman in the ring. Despite Superman vouching for Karate Kid, Cosmic Boy, again being Satan's gift to the galaxy, basically tells Karate Kid he is worthless and can be the janitor if he wants to. Meanwhile, Chameleon Boy and Karate Kid eventually attempt to go after the thief on their own, and once again they are shown up, as well as Cosmic Boy and Nemesis Kid, who somehow both still think that they are better than everyone, even though they failed just the same as Chameleon Boy, who is now suspended, and Karate Kid, who is now fired from being a janitor. The two rejects realize that the thief's antics have been to draw the Legion out, and the thefts were just part of a larger plan to do that. They go to save the Legionnaires, who are dealt with by a gun that takes away their powers. We find out the thief was hired by Imperiex to capture the Legionnaires so that his forces could deal with them. But the thief's anti-power gun does not work on Karate Kid, and he is able to defeat the thief, while Chameleon Boy is able to free his teammates in time for them to deal with Imperiex's useless robots. The episode ends with Karate Kid being promoted to a full-on Legionnaire, while Chameleon Boy still has to serve his suspension. Not really sure if this means he is permanently fired, or just temporarily not allowed on missions. The episode isn't really clear on that. So I've already complained about this, not only in this video, but in the review for the Season 1 episode Chain of Command as well. Boy, Cosmic Boy is the absolute worst in all of existence, isn't he? I've seen one Legion fan compare the comic book version of Cosmic Boy to Captain America as far as his role in the Legion and his attitude and personality. And you know what? After reading that, I would look at the Cos from the comics and yeah, I could totally see it. But this guy is an arrogant poop shoot, and he has displayed no other personality traits other than being an arrogant poop shoot. Literally every time I see this guy, I want to punch him in the face. Fortunately for me and my screen on which I watch these episodes, this is an ensemble show, so this guy does not show up very often at all for it to be a real problem. Just when he is on screen, at which point I wish he was being eaten by monsters that eat things very slowly. And then there's Nemesis Kid. Not much about this guy. If you're very familiar with the Legion comics, you know that Nemesis Kid joined the Legion and eventually betrayed them and even killed Karate Kid in the Paul Levitz run in the 1980s. So as soon as we saw this guy, I figured that we were going to get a betrayal and that this would be the first and last appearance of Karate Kid, sorta how Pharaoh Lad was introduced immediately before getting killed off. So I was very pleasantly surprised to see that neither happened. Now, I am still suspicious of Nemesis Kid. What good guy calls himself a nemesis, you know? But at least this way, his betrayal can have some weight to it if we do get a betrayal, because he's with the Legion for more than an episode when it happens. And then there's Karate Kid. I guess this is a good tool to teach kids, don't let others tell you what you can and can't do. And that's all very educational and stuff, but I knew as soon as I saw that we had an entire episode devoted to this guy that we would not get to see him again. I looked it up and sure enough, this is the only episode of the show Karate Kid shows up in. So let me get this straight. Karate Kid is told by Cosmic Boy and Nemesis Kid that he is useless, and then he proves them wrong, and it is supposed to be a lesson we learn or something like that. And then Karate Kid is never used again in the entire series. This, to me, seems to indicate that the people working on this series have just as much faith in Karate Kid as Cosmic Boy did. If you're going to use this character as an abject lesson, and then you never use him again, what was the point of introducing him in the first place? And hey, maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe they just didn't have room to use Karate Kid in the episodes they had planned after this one. But then, once again, why bother introducing him at all if you're not going to follow up on him later? Then we have Chameleon Boy. I like that this episode tries to parallel Karate Kid with Chameleon Boy, but I can't help but feel like all the times when Chameleon Boy encounters obstacles, they are just manufactured for the sake of his character arc. I don't see how Chameleon Boy is more of a failure than, say, Nemesis Kid, who actually does less stuff worth noting here than Chameleon Boy, who at least saved everyone's life. I feel like this episode just needed a character to parallel with Karate Kid, and Chameleon Boy drew the short end of the stick. I think maybe I'd be entirely okay with this if Chameleon Boy actually failed where the other Legionnaires did not, but in every time where Cosmic Boy yells at him, he failed just as much as Chameleon Boy did. Just seems like the writers and/or characters aren't really thinking things through entirely. And once again, I have occasion to complain about this season trying to set up this big huge war against a tyrant from the future and then trying to avoid actually moving forward with that big story in every single episode. We get a mention that the Legion is understaffed because of this war with Imperiex, but what war with Imperiex? We have seen absolutely no evidence that the Legion has done anything to fight Imperiex since the Season 2 premiere. They found out that he's with the Dominators in the previous episode, but what does that even accomplish? Are they all off fighting the Dominators right now in this episode? Do they know where Imperiex even is? I've said it before and I'm saying it now. You can't do a season-long storyline where a tyrant from 1,000 years in the future is here to take over the galaxy if you refuse to even do that storyline. While the Legion have been busy doing stupid stuff like putting Timberwolf on trial or chasing after Lobo Light, what's Imperiex been up to? As near as I can tell, all he has attempted to do is use a big lightning machine near the planet Korbal, and I'm not even sure what that would have accomplished for him. Like I said in my review of the previous episode, this show needs to actually do something with the Imperiex story, or I'm going to lose faith in this show as a whole. The singular episodes may be fine, but this show is making me think that it really should not attempt to do an overall arc for a season, which I guess is a moot point now since the show ended with its second season. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this episode, guys. Overall, a pretty solid and enjoyable episode, even if it is ultimately just a filler episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and if you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you did like this video, be sure to come back next Saturday, where I will be talking about an episode of Batman the Animated Series. And the following weekend, I'll be talking about another episode of the Legion of Superheroes. And don't forget to stop by this channel throughout the week to see some of my other videos. Until then, have a great day.